all lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I need to have another one of these.
Amen, amen.
Gee. I kind of.
This is way over the edge. Like we it's not even over the edge. We died already.
This is beyond the event horizon. Like we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah, we about to hit the vortex.
Yeah.
Boy, you looking like a milk dud. Nigga thought he was Michael Jordan. Boy, you looking like Blank Man. Boy, you looking like Lil Bill.
How you die does not redeem how you lived. You do not become a hero in your death when you are a weapon of the enemy in your life.
Well, negotiations, right? Politics.
And we're out of time. So you.
They're quick to run and grab that talking point of Biden and Hillary Clinton. You know, created the.
I'm gone, man.
Bill. They created
you the fakest nigga I ever seen in my life.
They created the crime bill.
I see you in person.
They created the crime bill.
They created what you said. I'm over here. I'm done, bro. You a fake nigga. I hope everybody see that. I appreciate it. Fake, bro. I'm gonna expose you to everybody. And when I see you, nigga, it's gonna be on. I want you to know that. Because you call me on the phone and you saying all this, and then you get on the live stream and you playing this shit. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Is that black on black crime? Is that black on black crime?
You's a bitch. I told you. Everybody on your live stream know you's a bitch, and when I see you, I'm whooping your ass. Everybody got your live stream. I like it. You want to be hood, nigga? You want to be hood? You on the phone talking shit to me, and you call me? You saying you apologize? Yeah, nigga.
I never apologize.
You apologize?
I never
apologize. You didn't apologize. My wife listened to you, nigga.
I never apologized. What I said was.
Bitch, nigga.
That's what I said.
Let's wrap this up. All right.
Hey, y'all, Gravity, any day above ground living. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your Wednesday. And you know it's Wednesday, and you know what you got to do on Wednesday. You got to go out and hump something. It's been a long time coming. Let's just be that guy. Tatum Tots, a.k.a. Officer Tatum, a.k.a. Brandon Tatum. He wasn't no cop, Jay Reed. He was a politician. I know you saw him in uniform before. You saw the headshot. Don't let Brandon Tatum ever make it seem like the boy is this figure that knows police procedure and things of that nature, when we have caught him many a time lying. He lying to protect them cops. Yet he want to run around and say he trying to bridge a gap between the cops and the public. You don't do that by lying. I've called him a thug many a time. Seemed like he was thugging since he was 8. His words, not mine. Yeah, the boy been arrested, but if you never heard him talk before, you would think that he was just one of these figures that just ran outside, and he been a conservative his whole life and just thought that, you know, everything's just getting worse, and he couldn't sit idly by anymore and not say a word about it. The boy had the silver bracelets on him when he was 8. His words, not mine. The reason why he became a cop, and you could research this for yourself. He got into an argument with his old lady, and a cop showed up at the crib. And he thought he was going to get arrested. Come to find out, he was signed up for a ride along. We got the documents if you need it. We're not going to tell you who this white man is. We're going to get to that. We don't know how long this live is going to be, but that's okay. We want to make sure you have more information than the rest of his sycophants have, because they too lazy to go look this stuff up, because they saw a Negro talking about the black community in a negative way, and they were like, oh, he one of us, until he started talking about Israel. Then he not one of them. But anyway, we're going to get into all that. We may even bring y'all up to let you have thoughts. But before we get into all that, let's see who's in the building on this last day of the year. Wallow J, hello. Anthony Ruger Phillips, hello. SD Johnson, hello. Reparations Nation, hello. Miss Nisi, hello. Priscilla Taylor, hello. LaShawn Daniels, hello. Baba Rashawn, hello, Elder. How are you? Stay warm down there in New Orleans. JJ, hello. Gray Black Shark, hello, sir. Cosmo Fury, hello. GDS, hello. And for those who haven't said anything in the live chat or comments, hello. So we are going to be looking at some videos. So we have to do the customary house cleaning, and then we're going to get into it.
Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now go.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
So for those who are going to tell me that I'm lying about certain aspects of this man's life, full disclosure, this live has been planned for about, I want to say, 2 months, maybe 2.5 months. Shout out to Donnie the Misfit. You've seen her in the chat, and we've talked before on this platform. Me and her, we don't like that man, and we said, since she works in the law division doing other things, I asked her to help me with this. We got official records. We have paper trails. She hit me to some information. I did my own research. But for those who are going to see this and tell me that I'm lying, tabernacle. What you see on the screen right now, I'll zoom it in. This right here is an official records request that I had sent way back in October to get information. I had filled out this form with everything that I needed. Yes, my real name is there. That's fine. I wanted them to see that I am not some troll, that I'm being real. And for those who think I'm lying, this is the police department he worked for. So there's that. Here's her response to me Thursday, November 6th. She tells me that his HR/personnel file, that's his badge number, we looked this up, had been purged and is no longer available. Now, apparently, due to Arizona law, they purge your records after 7 years. So if I would have thought about it about 2 years ago, I might have had the records. But it's okay. It's okay. The internet is forever, and there's always ways to get information. For those who also think I was lying, this was the initial email I had sent. Good, we got that out the way. Now, you're saying to yourself, how does this prove that he was a bad officer? Well, he claims he's been a cop. He was a cop for 6 years, SWAT and all that. So, being a cop for 6 years, he say he was on the street for about 3 of them, including SWAT, which we found out was true. And according to Arizona law and the Tucson PD, what they do, it take you about 2 to 5 years to get onto SWAT. You have to have exemplary shooting record. You have to be proficient with firearms, tactics, and all that. Nothing wrong with that. We're going to let them have it. Then I have a question for you, family. Remember how I said at the beginning that he want to talk about I wanted to do all this. I wanted to be the bridge between them cops and the public. I find it quite funny that his politician, that's what we're going to call him because he became a spokesperson in about 2014. His politician career started in 2014. Who was president in 2014? I think y'all know the answer to that. That's right, Obama. And the reason why I said that is this first article that we are going to look at, and full disclosure, this is about the Tucson PD taking data from their citizens. I know it sounds scary, especially now what we're going through out here in the streets. Give me 1 second. I want to see something. See if I can get the whole thing. Damn, I can't get the whole thing. Okay, whatever. So apparently, this looks like one of his first jobs. Now, this is from newspaper.com. It's basically an archive of newspaper articles around the country. They even have stuff back from the 1800s. So apparently they were using a company to mine metadata from the public, to help in law enforcement. This sounds like early Palantir. So this part here says Tucson police officials would not comment on the lawsuit because they were getting sued over this because people found out, watchdog groups and all that, but say the Stingray systems are used with the best interest of the public. Whatever is required by law is what we abide by, said Brandon Tatum, a department spokesperson. Tatum said police use the system sparingly. We know that's a lie. And that any information the surveillance systems collect unrelated to a specific investigation is discarded. Tucson City Attorney Mike Rankin said the technology tracks only phone numbers, not the names of the owners. Now, how many of y'all believe that? I'm just curious with the crowd. How many of y'all believe what that thing just said? Because surely I don't. You over here covering for people in a law enforcement capacity to steal data from citizens. I'm sure you're not going to. I'm sure you're not going to say nothing about that. I'm sure you're going to let it go. It's okay. Anything to keep people safe. So there's that. This next one we found. Now, this was a domestic violence call that resulted in gunfire against a law enforcement officer. Responding to domestic violence calls is inherently dangerous for law enforcement officers, said Officer Brandon Tatum, a Tucson police spokesperson. Over the years, we are noticing that one of the most dangerous calls we respond to a domestic violence situations, Tatum said. The parties involved in domestic violence incident are already heated by the time officers arrive, which could heighten the tension. The presence of police could aggravate the situation, he added. You never know what's going to happen, he said. Now, mind you, he's saying all this while still being a liberal. Again, for those who don't know, he stopped being a liberal once Trump started talking. We're still in 2015 now. So he's still a liberal. This sounds very even keeled, does it not? Not assessing no blame. He ain't bring no race into it. None of this. Interesting. Very interesting. We move on. We got something 2 days later. It says ex-deputy loses state license over drinking. Let's see. Where are we going to start from? Road spikes on southeast side flattened vehicles' tires. Two motorists reported Wednesday that their vehicles' tires were flattened after driving over spikes protruding from a manhole on the city's southeast side. Several 911 callers reported the spikes sticking out from the manhole at East Gulf Links and South Harrison Road, said Officer Brandon Tatum, a Tucson Police Department spokesman. Sorry. Still sounds fairly even keeled. I know y'all sound bored. I get it. Now we accelerate.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet the white man from the thumbnail.
I prayed for this and it happened.
Wait, Wilson.
Hello, Tim Steller, a columnist from that state. There's a reason why I put the Kamala Harris laugh in there. For those who ever try to question the validity of what Tatum says in his defense, I want y'all to just listen to this part of the live, because we're going to show you what kind of snake chameleon he is. And yes, those are two reptiles. Trump visit ignites free speech debate in Tucson. I wonder why you gave us this. We're not going to read the whole thing, but this is his column. Now, this is when Trump, I believe, went to Arizona the first time. Why do I bring this to you? Well, look who he started to profile in there. On Sunday, we'll actually start from here. That's only fair. It's also true of police officers. On Sunday, Tucson police officer Brandon Tatum, who was still a spokesperson at the time, posted online a 10-minute description of his experience at the Trump rally. He attended off-duty, Tatum said, because he was curious. Where have we heard this before? Let's see who was paying attention to the lives that we have done over the past few months. Where have you heard that line? Because in this case, we'll say I was curious. I'll check your answers in a minute. Most of the monologue consisted of Tatum's outrage at the behavior of protesters. Sounds like he's against free speach and freedom of expression, but okay. These are the most hateful, evil people I've ever seen, he said of the protesters. That was eyebrow-raising coming from a police officer who has presumably seen some pretty bad stuff, but more concerning was his justification of Sanders' beating, which he saw. Who is this Sanders you are talking about? I am curious, sir. And I wonder why this thing is not working. But okay. Sanders beating. As most of us have seen on video, someone, Davis Monthan Airman Tony Petway has been charged, ripped the signs from Sanders' hands, punched him, and kicked him on the ground. So you were a cop and saw this and didn't arrest nobody. Absurd justifications have circulated that Sanders did something to provoke Petway, but the video makes clear. Tucson police reports say that Sanders asserts that there was nothing. So you saw a crime being committed and didn't jump in. That's interesting. And just for those who don't remember this story, it's almost a decade old. There you go. So you saw a crime being taken place and you didn't run over there and help.
Mike Wilson.
That's interesting, sir. Very interesting. I think we're starting to get into the first foray of you being a bad cop. Three times, Tatum said the protester had done something to deserve the beating, though he hadn't. He was asking for that when Tatum said he assaulted somebody and he lost the battle. Tatum was within his First Amendment rights to attend and even talk about his experience, the Tucson Police Department said in a statement. But of course, he put his credibility at risk with his comments. Well, Where have we heard that before? Looking at your answer, you said black conservatives. You were close, Wallow J. You said Nicki Minaj, GDS. No. You heard that from Byron last year at the DNC when he showed up on film and said, I wanted to see what was going on. But anyway, we go back to this. Your credibility was put at risk. Oh, so they don't want somebody in a uniformed capacity putting out their personal opinion. That should be a good lesson for you cops. And as a politician, because he's not really a cop in that respect, he injected personal feelings into a situation that is supposed to stay neutral. He also experienced considerable online fame blowback. That was the case with Sanders too, who has been lied about by Trump on national TV. Trump claimed Sanders was a professional agitator who had dragged an American flag or otherwise done something to merit the beating. The online mob has been after him as well. Oh, well, Brandon, that's not good. That's not good. You shouldn't be saying things like that in an official capacity. Huh. But of course, you know, folk gonna defend Tatum Tots because, you know, at that point he wanted to go on. So let's see him get defended.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
So this is the same Tim Steller. Now this is on an editorial page. Somebody went after him because of that story he put out. Now, for those who don't know, that story was March 30th. This one is the same day. So whenever they printed that, somebody saw it. So it was on March 25th. I don't know why they happened on March 30th, but okay. So that was his March 25th column. I guess March 30th is probably when they put it up. Regarding the March 25th column, Trump visit ignites free speech debate in Tucson. Tim Stella, I read your column just to see how you would bias your story. Bias? I read the whole thing, by the way. He didn't bias anything. But, you know. I found it interesting that you were not at the rally, but you still made judgments as if you had been there. Glaring omission is that you failed to identify Tony Petway and Officer Brandon Tatum as African American. Wait a minute. Whoa. Why are we bringing race into this? I thought when Trump came on the scene, race was gone. I think this is what we were told. Race was gone. We're all one big human being.
Mike Wilson.
And again, this is under Black Lives Matter. So, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you forgot that day. Maybe. This is germane to the story since Tatum stated in his online description that many of the agitators were from the Black Lives Matter organization. But according to the column, he never mentioned their race. Here. Y'all can read it really quickly. You could stop the live and read it. Show me where they mentioned race. I'm looking. This is my third time looking. I don't see anything black, white, polka dot, whatever. I don't see it. Why would you bring up race when race wasn't brought up? We'll look on this one. Maybe it's in here. We'll look. We look in. And we just read it. I don't see anything about race. That's funny. Someone trying to defend Tatum Tots would bring up race when race wasn't brought up. And he makes it seem like BLM didn't have white people within their ranks, even if they were foot soldiers going outside. But okay. It appears obvious that having African Americans say complimentary things about Donald Trump does not fit your agenda. He didn't even knock him for saying that. I mean, we read it. He barely brought Trump up. That's interesting. Oh, we got more.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
Now, this is in 2017, so this is this is about 5 weeks before the election. I thought it was 2016. Sorry. This is about a year almost into Trump's presidency. Sorry. TPD officer pushes boundaries with video rants. Now, peep this date. Friday, September 29, 2017. Tatum resigned 2 weeks later, October 10th. Because as he's going to state in this, and something else I saw, his people, meaning them cops, went to him and pulled the Myron Gaines, the Amro Foodle. Either you stay a cop and stop talking about this stuff, or you gotta go. Now, mind you, they knew he was doing this video. That's the significant difference I want you to know between them and Foodle. They knew he was doing this and still let him do it because he was still putting them over. But I guess now that he was getting internet fame, they said it's too much to handle because we're going to have a PR nightmare, because they knew he was going to say something that was going to give them significant blowback. And they didn't want to force a situation where there was going to be a lawsuit if they fired him. So they gave him the chance to resign. But let's see what this says. Again, this is his white op. When Brandon Tatum starts talking into his camera, you get the feeling he will burst if he doesn't unload right then.
Mike Wilson.
How many times have we seen him do that on film? Tatum, a Tucson police officer, you meant politician, but we're going to forgive you, started his September 25th YouTube rant this way. All right, we're going to talk. Now y'all have made me talk. He's sounding tough on film. Okay. He went on to lambaste NFL players who have protested police brutality by kneeling during the national anthem. And a segment of the country embraced him, viewing the video more than 410,000 times, making him a viral video star of the week once again. For all you people who don't understand, let me clarify this for you. He said, it's not about the act of protesting. It's not about the act of believing in something and pursuing it. It's the way you're doing it. By kneeling before a game. They didn't do it during the game. They didn't do it to piss people off. They did it before the game. Okay. Cool. I don't know how many times people have to say this. What does the American flag have to do with your perceived oppression? Now, again, this is 2017, and he asked that question. Okay. What does the national anthem have to do with these issues that people are bringing up? The flag and the national anthem have nothing to do with what you're talking about. They're literally doing what they're doing underneath the banner of that flag. Just like when you were a cop and you were doing what you were doing underneath the banner of that flag, because I'm pretty sure you guys had the flag on your uniform. We keep going. Tatum, for a time was a spokesman for the Tucson Police Department. So it sounds like you left that post. Nasty word. First gained a wider audience in March 2016 when Donald Trump visited Tucson for a campaign rally, and he posted a video slamming the protesters who showed up. Since then, his rants have largely been avidly pro-Trump and anti-liberal, not unlike what you'd hear on right-wing talk radio. Well, 2016 is when he switched. Huh. Interesting. You turned that quickly? You could have stayed a liberal and still supported Trump. Why lie and go run to the conservatives? Because you knew you were going to get no traction with your rants over there. Even though you would be in a niche lane and you could control the money coming in and the offers coming in. Okay. Videos with smash mouth names like Kathy Griffin should be in prison and shut up about Russia already are mixed in with some introspective analytical pieces like why I do not feel oppressed like other black people. Oh, you don't feel oppressed like other black people. Oh, okay. Oh, Brandon. Okay. Keep a pin in that. And why black men choose white women over black women. What if I told you about the American racists? They will say something and within 10 seconds hold themselves. Sir. You don't feel oppressed like other black people? Yeah, you went on film to talk about that. That was a love letter to your ex-wife who had your first kid. That's a love letter to her. Oh Lord, it gets better. Tatum is careful not to suggest he's representing the Tucson Police Department when he gets on camera, but it is widely known since last year's Trump rally video that he is a police officer. No self-awareness. Okay. When Fox News did a piece on his latest viral rant, it identified him in the writing along the bottom of the screen as a Tucson, Arizona police officer. And you still swear up and down that the conservative media loves you. These are the boundaries that city policy and the police administration worry about employees crossing. The department has a 2.5-page guideline in their general orders explaining how employees may use social media like YouTube in their private lives. Among the prohibited postings, any act or statement or any other form of speech that ridicules, maligns, disparages, or otherwise indicates bias against any race, religion, color, ancestry, national origin, ethnicity, disability, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, familial status, marital status, or other protected status. Yet you did a video talking about why black men choose white women over black women. And they still let you stay. They could have fired you right there, or at least given you a writ. But, you know. All right. I spoke with Chief Chris Magnus and his Chief of Staff Mike Silva Thursday, and he explained it's a complicated area of rules and laws with plenty of gray area. The general rule is in their individual capacities, members can speak on what the law calls issues of public concern, Silva said, but there are special worries for officers who post online and may be grilled by a criminal defense attorney in court. Officers can put themselves in a bad place in terms of their own credibility in terms of providing testimony, Silva said. They can create their own impeachment material by going off on, let's see, A6. We're going to go find that date. We need all that. Where is it? By going off and pontificating. Magnus weighs in occasionally on social media, usually about police issues and occasionally critical of President Trump or his administration. He said officers just need to work to stay within the boundaries laid out by the rules. I certainly do not share a good many of his views, Magnus said of Tatum, but I have to acknowledge that he's pretty savvy about the way he does it so as not to find himself on the other side of that line. On Thursday, Tatum tweeted out an invitation from Alex Jones, host of the conspiracy-mongering InfoWars show, to be interviewed by Jones. To me, accepting an interview with Jones would be crossing the line into behavior that is acceptable for a known Tucson police officer. That motherfucker just putting out his whole stuff. But even appearing on Jones' show may be within the rules, Magnus said, as long as Tatum doesn't represent himself as a representative of the department and sticks within the rules and what he says. That's too bad. Interesting. Oh, Tatum. Tatum. We continue. We're actually going to shut the music off for this one. This one you guys are really going to like, and I want to make sure you hear everything.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
So this is on October 6, 2017, 4 days before he left the force. Tucson police chief offers political bite in tweets. You might have heard that I tried to get a Tucson police officer fired in last Friday's Notebook column. Really? Well, Officer Brandon Tatum said on Facebook that I did in my column about his viral video denouncing NFL players who took a knee during the national anthem. You may remember as a rather tame column about a local police officer with a big social media following, but his fans didn't think so. They flooded the newspaper with emails and phone calls that echoed his reaction, wondering why I was trying to get him fired. Here's the irony of that claim. The person who has the power to try to fire Tatum, Police Chief Chris Magnus, is the same person who knows I didn't try to get him fired because he was, of course, part of the conversation in which I asked Magnus about Tatum's videos. And I reported that the chief said Tatum had acted within department rules. But there were a couple of interesting criticisms in the flood I received. One reader, David Schnack of Vail, told me that if I'm going to look into a line officer's conservative videos, surely I would be interested in the chief's liberal opinions transmitted via Twitter. So I took a closer look at Magnus's Twitter account, specifically the last 100 tweets he posted going back to July 13th, most of what I found was pretty innocuous, promoting the department, documenting his activities, sending out sympathies and congratulations. But there has been a steady political bite to some of his tweets, mostly responding to the Trump administration's criminal justice policies carried out by Attorney General Jeff Sessions. On August 4th, Magnus posted a story by the Los Angeles Times about Sessions' threat to punish so-called sanctuary cities. In his tweet, Magnus called it randomly picking on cities to score political points with no knowledge, strategy, or goal of actually reducing crime. Yada, yada, yada. By the way, Chris Magnus is a liberal. Just want y'all to know that, if I didn't state that before. Let me see. What's in? Wait, what page was it? Get off my screen. Get off my screen. Oh my God. Since when? I was just on this. Hold on one second. I literally just signed up for this. Now I'm just trying to go back. And now it's telling me I got to log in again. All right, we should be okay now. There we go. All right, let me go back to that page, see where they kept it at. Where is it? Okay, so it was on 5. I went a little too fast. So where the hell is it? Oh, here we go. The rank and file, who tend to be more conservative. In his previous job in Richmond, California, he posed for a picture with people carrying a Black Lives Matter banner, and that rankles some officers still who see it as evidence he really isn't on their side. Mind you, when he worked for this man, because Chris Magnus was still there when he was originally a cop, he was a liberal, and he didn't say nothing about this man. Magnus told me that his Twitter account is a personal one, not formally representing the department, but of course, such distinctions are pretty artificial when you're talking about a public figure like a police chief. That's one of the reasons why earlier this summer he ceased blocking anyone from viewing his tweets and simply asked that they keep the conversation civil. I think I have an obligation as a police chief and police leader to give a critical look at criminal justice policy at a state, national, and local level, Magnus said. Tatum goes conspiratorial. I don't want to belabor this topic, but just to tie up loose ends. Last week, I reported that Tatum said he had been invited to be interviewed by internet conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. I wrote that it was too bad that supervisors couldn't prevent him from appearing on the show, hosted by a delusional radical who had harmed crime victims, the parents of massacred children in Newton, Connecticut. Tatum went ahead and did the interview anyway. He explained in a Facebook post that he started watching Alex Jones when he didn't have cable TV at home and was catching news on the internet. So your worldview was shaped by Alex Jones. Not your experiences as a human being and what you've seen out there and your experiences as a cop. You became basically a conservative because of Alex Jones. Isn't it wonderful what you can find on the internet? Isn't it wonderful? He noted that Jones was one of the few people who predicted accurately that Trump would win. What Tatum didn't take into account, though, was Jones' regular track record of calling many violent episodes false flag operations created by the government to justify taking away citizens' guns and other freedoms. He theorized that Jared Lardner was the subject of a government mind control program the day after Lardner shot Gabrielle Giffords and 18 other people. Soon after Tatum's interview, Jones was back to his old trick saying of the Las Vegas massacre, the whole thing has the hallmarks of being scripted by deep state Democrats and their Islamic allies using mental patient cutouts. It's crazy stuff, but not harmless. Millions of people listen, and some are incited by his ravings. Responsible grown adults don't prop up harmful wackos like Jones by appearing on their shows, no matter how big the audience. So what have we learned so far? Tatum was a whole politician, and he is a disciple of Alex Jones. And last but not least, Stellar, who was pissed off, I'm sure, writing this, but he had to send him a nice little send-off. We talk about Tatum.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
So let's start over here. Let's see, where is it? Let me back out a little bit. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. It's in here somewhere. Oh, here we go. Let's see if there was something in here. Okay, there's nothing in there about him. So you talked about Mexico, sir, and then switched to Tatum, which was kind of funny. Tatum leaves TPD. For 2 weeks, I've told the tale of Brandon Tatum, a Tucson police officer turned online video star who gives spontaneous political monologues. Sure, they're spontaneous. Okay. Largely in support of President Trump. 2 weeks ago, he said wrongly that I was trying to get him fired. This week, he quit on his own. Tatum, also a former UA football player, said in a video that he was offered a job by Liftable Media, which is based in the Phoenix area. He said he will serve as a spokesman for an online site called Conservative Tribune and that he plans to move to Phoenix. A fan of conspiracy monger Alex Jones, Tatum said, "We're going to show the world what media should look like." And we've seen what it looks like. No bueno. But I get it, folks. I get it. You are probably looking at me and like, well, this ain't telling us a lot. I figured that. Now, after he left, a week later, he did this article, talk to somebody about the neglect of the police department by Tucson leaders. He gonna blame in this, we're not gonna read it, but in here he blames activists for the reason why the nation is in the way that it's in especially in his neck of the woods, and how they don't care about them cops. Interesting that he wrote that. It's also interesting to note that he advocated for a police chief from Maryland to be the police chief in Phoenix. Yeah, he did that. He said that all them cops wanted Malik Aziz to be their police chief, not Matt Giordano, who's actually local. And of course, you could see by the name, Malik is a black man. Sounds like identity politics to me. But okay, that's all right. Then we get to something that I think you guys would be very interested in. Tatum got $100,000, and I ain't pocket watching. He said this. He got $100,000 to write 2 books. One of those books is called Beaten Black and Blue. You don't believe me? I figured you didn't. Tabernacle. There it is. This is called Loki's Librarian. And they did a review on the book. Nothing wrong with that. They say they liked it. This book also is where he admitted that he got arrested at 8 years old for smoking weed in an abandoned house with some friends and some of his cousins. And his old man had to pick him up from the station, and instead of beating the wax off of him, because him and the father and the mother were not living together, he said, what you want to do? He said he want to go MBA. That's what he said. If you don't believe me, you can look it up. Nothing wrong with that. He did mention Thomas Sowell, that fraud, and Walter E. Williams, that fraud as well. The sellouts of black Republicans, but that's okay. There's something in there for those who don't believe me. There's his arrest. 8 years old, that thug. It's right there. He got marijuana possession at 8 years old, and he want to talk stuff. And he wondered why people don't take him serious. Y'all can screenshot that if you want. Here's what I alluded to earlier. Now he's in a position where he has to find employment. His plan to play professionally is over because he didn't get drafted. His fiance is pregnant, and he needs to find a way to support her and their coming child. He has no job offers, and he starts applying everywhere, including Tucson Police Department. He got the call to come in for an interview the day after he had a fight with his fiance and actually thought she had called the cops on him, a white woman. Knowing Not that he was being called in for an interview. He went on a ride along with Officer Sean Payne and ultimately became an officer with Tucson PD. But here's where you'll have a lot of fun. This part right here. He has an entire chapter covering some of the major news stories involving those bad cops and what went wrong and how media feeds us all BS and we eat it up. The chapter was particularly eye-opening because it brings to light key information the media deliberately withheld in order to sell their story. Not that I always agree with Officer Tatum, but provided an alternate view as a contrast to media BS. Now, the fact that this person wrote this, I find funny because he could have pulled this in the early 2010s where people weren't as resourceful in looking for research as we are now. Well, not me, but a lot of other people. But I find it particularly funny that when he wrote this book, he started with Ahmaud Arbery. And people were searching information every day on that. And he still found the same information everybody else found and still lied on that boy. But okay. You'll love this next part. And he's not disingenuous with it. He tells straight up when the law enforcement is dead wrong and when there was more going on than what was withheld from the public. Right. Oh, so what changed? Remember, in the case of Sean Grayson, that man said that she threw the water at the cop, even though we have the hospital records, we saw them and they weren't burned. They even said on the body cam, none of them got touched with the water, but he still sat up there and said that she threw the water on him. We remember this. He talks about George Floyd and how no matter who it happened to, Derek Chauvin's career was virtually guaranteed to end this way. Floyd just happened to be the unfortunate person on that fateful day. Chauvin had no business being an officer based on his employment file. Yet this is the same dude who never brought that up in the public square. He just kept saying George Floyd was a serial criminal who was high on fentanyl and he OD'd on fentanyl. It's funny how what you say in public and what you say in private, how there's supposed to be a separation. But when you're a public figure and your private stuff comes out, when you proffer it, it sounds way different than what you say in public. Hey, Tatum, you want to explain why you wrote in your book that Chauvin was wrong? That he shouldn't have been a cop, but now all of a sudden, when pulled to the carpet, George Floyd wrong? Chauvin need to be free? So you want a bad cop who you admitted that based on his employment record is a bad dude. You want him free? What's up to those who just walked in the room? Tatum points out that the people who hate bad cops are the good cops because the bad cops make their job all so much more dangerous. Bad cops erode trust and faith in the system. Yet you good cops don't say anything because of the blue wall of silence. He did make me think about no-knock warrants and why they can be a necessary part of legitimate police arrest. Still not sure I agree with them, but it did give me food for thought, which is what a good book will do. Sorry. So. Let's take y'all see what I highlighted, right? Chauvin had no business being an officer based on his employment file. Well, let's see if he says that publicly.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern in.
What this be? Officer Tatum goes off on the BBC network. America isn't a racist nation.
What the hell?
But you got mad at Kamala Harris for. Wait a minute. Why didn't you praise Kamala Harris for saying this? I know you praised Tim Scott. You didn't praise Kamami? That's neither here nor there. But let's see. He said this to the BBC. So he did the interview all the way over in the UK. Let's see if he's going to say what we just read, that Chauvin had no business being an officer based on his employment file. Let's see if he says it. I'm just curious.
Get to work!
Sorry. Oh, Jesus, where is it? There it goes.
Thank you very much for coming on the program.
My pleasure.
So we're going to talk about lots of the wider issues just in a moment. But first of all, just wanted to get your reaction to the conviction.
Well, first of all, I think most of what I heard on the broadcast all the way here is confusing to me. I think we're living in the twilight zone. This conviction, in my personal opinion, did nothing for our country. I mean, people are living a lie. I mean, this was one police officer, one person in the community. They found him guilty. This was the swiftest justice I've ever seen in my life. The day after the film came out, he was arrested. He was tried 10 hours.
So the film came out a day later. He was arrested. What were they not supposed to arrest him? So somebody committed a crime on film. They're not supposed to be arrested as quick as they can be. Oh, okay. Keep going.
The deliberation, he was convicted. I'm not really sure why people are acting like this is monumental. Also, he did not get a fair trial, in my personal opinion. There was a lot of obstruction that happened. They paid the family out $27 million before the jury could be selected. I mean, they're going to have a case in appeal. So I don't know why people are celebrating, and I don't know why this is such a big focal point, other than people are making money off of the pain of people in our country.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
You literally sat there the entire C-19 saga on this story, Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. Breonna, Ahmaud, George, BAG. You got a bag the entire year talking about that. And you got the nerve to say that while saying this in the book? So if Minneapolis PD did their due diligence and fired that man, George Floyd would still be alive. But according to Tatum Tots, he's not supposed to be arrested for deleting a man on film. Oh, keep going. I want to hear more.
So you're objecting firstly to some of the things that happened around the trial, which now that there is a conviction, I think we should probably park that. But secondly, you're upset that there's a amalgamation here of a wider sense of a landmark case and this one specific court case.
Yeah, this is not a landmark case. I think this is a political agenda. They're pushing lies in our country. Policing in America is not inherently racist. We don't live in a racist country. This was
We don't live in a racist country. How'd that work for you a few years later? We don't live in a racist country. The same dude who went on film and were lambasting black folks and white folks for calling you a coon. Sir, now how you gonna sit up here and tell this lie? Thank you, Wallow J. You went in on Carmelo Anthony. You kept saying black, white. Shiloh Hendricks, black, white. That situation in, what was it, Wisconsin? The one that just happened at the Cinnabon? Black, white. Are you serious? Jordan Neely, Tyree Nichols? You knew there were 3 white cops there. You never brought them up one time. You sat right there and just said that police officers are not racist. Huh? You literally said a Bell County sheriff, a former one who got run over while biking, you said the person driving was black, come to find out it was a white Hispanic. Because you heard the white Hispanic saying the N-word. Huh? You push Ellen DeGeneres off a bike at UC Davis. What are you talking about, sir? We could go up and down your X timeline. We could go up and down your YouTube video page, and we're going to find videos of you talking about racism. You even tried to invent racism by saying black folks ain't putting over Thomas Sowell. Huh? All right. You got it, sir. Keep going. I want to hear more.
The interaction between a police officer that I thought did the wrong thing and a black man who was on drugs, high, resisting arrest, and ended up being killed by that police officer. That's as simple as it can be. This was an interaction between a police officer that I thought did the wrong thing and a black man who was on drugs, high, resisting arrest, and ended up being killed by that police officer. That's
Oh, so you're acknowledging that Chauvin did something wrong. But because it was somebody that was a criminal, that's okay. That he need to be freed. This is what he said years later. He needs to be freed. Just like he said here, this was a miscarriage of justice. So a cop that did something wrong should be allowed to go home. Baby, he said it. A cop does something wrong, they should go home. A criminal becomes a victim. We don't care if they die. Okay. We get it. Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
It's as simple as it can be. The president of the United States got out and made a fool of himself trying to promote racism in a simple police encounter that the officer got convicted on.
So you reject President Biden's comments about systemic racism and it being a stain on the whole nation?
Yes, President Biden is an idiot, in my personal opinion, and he's just talking because he's a politician. Systemic racism. I mean, if you look at Joe Biden himself, you know, he spoke at a Ku Klux Klan member's funeral and did the eulogy of Robert Byrd.
Tatum say, if you're a bad cop and you do something wrong, you should go home.
I mean, he is white supremacy and racism. If you want to.
Whoa! Wait a minute. What did you just say, sir? Wait a minute. What did you just say?
I mean, if you look at Joe Biden himself, you know, he spoke at a Ku Klux Klan member's funeral and did the eulogy of Robert Byrd. I mean, he is white supremacy and racism. If you want to say that is the.
I thought you said this wasn't a racist country, baby. This fool just said 2 minutes ago, this country's not racist, but then brought up Biden eulogizing somebody from the KKK and white supremacy. I thought this wasn't a racist country. Why are you bringing up racism if there's no racism in this country? You let him talk long enough.
No. Bro, ain't no motherfucking way, bro. Ain't no motherfucking way.
For those who didn't hear that part again, 2 minutes ago, he told this interviewer, America is not a racist country. 2 minutes later, you bring up Biden eulogizing Robert Byrd and white supremacy, which are two mechanisms that can be attributed to racism in this country. As I have said many a time, they can't keep their lies straight. Oh, Tatum. Come on now. Come on, son. Oh my God. He's not serious. This kid is not serious. He can't be. We're being punked right now. Are we not being punked? Continue, sir. We need to hear the rest.
The case, and now he's the president. So if he really cared about white supremacy and racism, he should step down as the president because he's an exemplification of that very thing. These people are just.
You mean like Trump? Now, if I would have said that out loud, that Trump need to step down because he's a racist, you would tell me I was wrong, right? And you'd probably ask me how he's a racist, and I would give you examples. You tell me that's not racist, right? Because you're going to tell us again that this is not a racist country, yet you just brought up Biden talking about how he's a racist. And now you're pivoting to Obama now because that's the new grift, that Obama was a racist. Oh, okay. All right. But America's not a racist country.
Running their mouth and they're not being honest. We don't have a problem with racism in our country. We have a problem with people not following the law. We also.
You just said that the president at the time was a racist. So evidently people voted for a racist. So that means there's a problem with racism in the country. He got it.
Have a problem with politicians making up things so they can get reelected, and that's exactly what has been happening. That's why
you mean how Trump sat there and made up the fact that he had the election stolen from him, even though his people and his AI on True Social said that there was no evidence of it. He's still running with it. Oh, but it's Trump, so it's okay. By the way, y'all know what the next word I'm about to say. Screenshot. That is a wild look.
You never see anything change. They're lying to us.
So the rate of people being killed by police the rate is higher amongst black people than amongst the rest of the population. How do you account for that if that isn't a systemic racism problem?
Yeah, first of all, that's not true. Twice as many white people go killed by police every year.
What do y'all say? Per capita is higher. Per capita is higher.
Twice as many white people were killed unarmed by police every year. You just don't see it. There's a gentleman named Tony Temper. I guarantee you anybody watching me have no idea who Tony Temper is. Tony Temper was murdered in the same fashion that George Floyd was killed. But because he was white, we don't hear about it and nobody cares about it.
That's a lie, sir. You see how you just lied? What do you mean? That was all over the news in 2019. I actually remember that story. His son was just in the news last year trying to get the settlement. What do you mean? Y'all don't bring up Tony Temper because it would make your arguments for George Floyd and why he deserved what he got. It would have made it sound crazy. Tony Tempa, as you said, got the same treatment George Floyd got. But because he was on drugs, y'all let it pass. Y'all let it pass because he was white. You didn't want to report on it because then you would have to start questioning why officers would do that to a white man. And whenever somebody brought up Tony Temple, when y'all brought up George Floyd, you dismissed it. Try again.
Nobody's talking about police reform when he was suffocated and killed, but they only talk about it because George Floyd is black. Black people commit over half of violent crimes in this country and only make up 13% of the population. They commit over half of the murders in this country, but only make up 13% of the population. And we can.
So can I blame that on Trump? Since he was president when that stat in 2019 came out, can I blame him for that because he didn't put out no policy to improve police relations? Or I bet you if I said that out loud to one of these fools, they're going to tell me, well, that's on the local and state level. But y'all blame Biden for a rising spike in crime when he was president. You see how that works? These are the same folk who were blaming Obama for what was going on in Chicago. But I'm told I can't blame Trump for the 2019 crime stats. Donald Trump is the reason why black people were committing all that crime. Yeah! See how that works? Just like y'all told me that I shouldn't be able to give Biden credit, even though I didn't, because I actually exposed him on that. You can't give Biden credit for the gas prices going down. That's not on the president. President doesn't control gas prices. You know, y'all's AIs and your Google and DuckDuckGo searches tell you this. But when the price goes down about 3 cents, y'all give credit to Trump when he is supposed to not have anything to do with that. Continue. Give us more.
Agree that 13% of the population aren't the criminals. There's only a small fraction of the black community that's doing this. So
like you at 8 years old. Like you at 8 years old. You were part of that statistic, sir. You are a violent black man. I'm doing it correctly, right? He's a violent black man. Even at 8 years old, he was violent. He had drugs on him. He did a breaking and entering. He's a violent black man. Go ahead, sir.
It explains why police are in the black communities more, and it explains why black people are incarcerated more. They are making up lies saying that it has anything to do with racism. Do you understand that there's black police officers too that patrol in many of these majority black cities?
You mean like the city you patrolled that only had 5% of black people in it? Oh. Yeah, you could go look up those Tucson demographic rates. About 5% of people lived in that city when they did the census in 2010. Maybe it was like 4 and some change.
Are they racist? No, that's not the case. They're just making these things up, in my personal opinion, and they're riding a wave of dead black people in order to make money and be politically and get political leverage.
I actually
do the mathematics.
Yeah.
Math don't lie.
To say the least, shut up, bitch.
No, this fool did not just say that. Sir, people flocked to your channel not because you was kissing Trump's ass. They flocked there because you started knocking black people with them cops. If you would have kept your content on things that Trump did right, nobody would have went to your channel. You got hot because you started talking about black interactions with police. And you should have stayed on that wave, but you went out of your element and started talking about Uvalde, claiming because you were a cop, you know their tactics, even though every jurisdiction has their own tactics. And you got it completely wrong. So much so that white boys you talked to started cooking you on the subject. And then it was just been a cascade ever since. Every year you get exposed. But continue. Give us more.
Brandon Tatum, thank you so much for coming on and talking.
Thank God it's over. Now, before we go and drop the link, we got one more piece of audio to play, just to further highlight his hypocrisy. And I'll understand if you don't like the person he's speaking to. I'll understand.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
That's right. This was back in 2021. Ahmaud Arbery in the state of Black America with Officer Brandon Tatum, because he knows so much about Black America.
Five police officers that are incredible men who've served all across the country. And I think it's an incredible book for people that want to hear the voices of police officers and hear an articulable response to some of the naysayers.
Yeah, and we obviously see a war on police, and it's going different in every community. What do you think is the main driving force behind that? Because it's not even that popular in the Black community to get rid of police.
Well, you know, I think that it's political. A lot of people like to promote something that make you feel good, to get you emotionally charged, and it has no real positive effect. There's no rational reason to defund police in any circumstance. If anything, they want to fund the police for the things that they complain about. You want to get them better training. You want to make sure they're equipped. You want to be able to hire more police officers who are qualified, who represent the community. So I think it's all political, man. I think that when Black people get killed by police, there's an emotional charge and there's an emotional financial benefit, right? You get people charged up, people make a lot of money that's invested in race hustling. And I think they use that to get leverage to votes, but they don't have a solid, real perspective.
Yeah, so since all the Floyd stuff, which you came out really strong, and you deserve to be credit for that, you were super courageous on that. You know, we've seen murder rates go up dramatically across the country. It's been the Floyd effect, basically. You know, with that one incident, now we see inner cities more dangerous than ever. Even Phoenix is having an increase in crime. And this goes to show that bad ideas in this war on police is not just something that should be refuted, but it's actually making America more dangerous.
Right. And I think that's with anything, you know, these bad ideas from people who don't come from a good, I would say godly place. They don't come from a good place of moral character and love for the country. They create these ideas to get votes, and then they leave you out to dry. I mean, like I said, you know, when you look at George Floyd, you know, in the perspective of reality, that's a one-off. Even in that particular city, that's a one-off. You cannot find another case that a Black man has been put in that situation similar to George Floyd. I could tell you a white guy that nobody would ever cover.
Yeah,
Tony
Texas.
Timper,
Yeah.
nobody would ever cover that. However, it's a one-off. And these police brutality situations are one-offs. Yeah. You know, police patrol, you know, they have contact with over 300 million people a year. There's no research, there's no study that can suggest that they're disproportionately affecting Black people. And so with this one-off, they've completely destroyed the reputation of law enforcement in America, and it's making most communities unsafe.
So one of the cases that we're keeping a close eye on is the Ahmaud Arbery case, and you've actually done some studying on this. What are what's going on with that? Because we were told that there was a young Black man who wanted to be a cross-country athlete, who was going for a nice jog on a beautiful day, and white supremacist, Confederate sympathizing former police officers pulled up in a car and hunted down this poor Black man.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that you say that.
Where am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, that's the narrative that's being pushed.
Yes.
And unfortunately, even people on both sides, man, I get it from both sides.
Well, I'm saying it sardonically, of course, but yeah.
Yeah, people from both sides criticize me because a lot of people are not looking at the facts of the case. Emotionally, people look at it and say, he didn't deserve to die. Well, that's up to God who deserves to die. That ain't up to us. And nobody can make that argument. But the cases, the facts of this case is that Ahmaud Arbery wasn't jogging on that day when he entered a structured, unoccupied.
Yeah, so go through all the facts of the case, right? Because this is about to be a whole nother, situation, right?
Yeah.
So, what? It's in Georgia. What's the facts of the case? Because the way that most people think is that poor Ahmaud Arbery going for a run, and white supremacists hunt him down in the street.
So it's a lot to unravel, but let's start with the facts of the fact that Ahmaud Arbery wasn't a jogger, which is being pushed in the media. He wasn't a jogger. There's no evidence of him jogging. He has been in this community multiple times, seen on camera in Larry English's house, which is the residence that people are, that's the focus of the investigation. He has been in there multiple times. Over 5 times he's been spotted on camera, and not one time he was jogging. If anything, he's running after he's called and after he's identified by citizens in the community. So he's not jogging. On this particular day, he enters a structure that's not occupied. He goes into the structure. Neighbors see him. He's on video camera.
Yo, fuck nuts.
Tatum Tots, you want to explain this? He wasn't jogging, right? But the cell phone video that they showed in court from the friend's cell phone, who was in the truck, has him jogging. But he wasn't jogging. That's what he said. He wasn't jogging. Okay. All right. All right.
Larry English, who's the homeowner, sees him on his camera. The whole neighborhood is now picking up on the fact that this guy is back and he's now in the house after things have been stolen from that particular residence. So he sees a citizen calling the police. He runs. After he runs, the citizen who called the police signal to the neighbors. Everybody see him running down the street. They identify him as a person whom they have interacted with before at this residence late at night. They chase him. They attempt to conduct a citizen's arrest. In the state of Georgia, citizens can conduct a citizen's arrest. You don't need to prove that a person has committed a crime. You don't need to see them firsthand commit a crime. All you need is reasonable suspicion that a person has committed a crime. They say probable suspicion, reasonable suspicion that this person may have committed a crime. In order to chase them, you have to have reasonable suspicion that they committed a felony crime. In the state of Georgia, burglary is a felony. Burglary only involves a person entering an occupied or unoccupied structure with the intent to take something. People don't have to prove that he was going to take anything. It's about suspicion. They had suspicion based on what the defense has argued. They chase him, for I don't know how many minutes, man. They're chasing him all around the community. He's running here, he's running there. No guns have been brandished. No threats have been made, according to what the court documents say. They corner him at some point. He's running down the street. McMichael, the younger McMichael, steps out his car with a gun. One thing that people criticize, they didn't have a reason to have a gun. Well, you don't lose your constitutional right to bear arms or to carry a firearm just because you're conducting a citizen's arrest. You have a right in the state of Georgia to open carry a firearm. And what idiot would chase a person down conducting a lawful citizen's arrest and not carry a gun with you? But if he has a gun,
and these are former police officers, right?
Well, at least the father was a former police officer, and the son was a former military, and he trained. He was in the military police. So these people do have tactical experience. So once they corner him, the biggest part of all of this is that he's running down the street. He could have went right, could have went left, could have run around him. Once he rounds the truck, McMichael's son is standing in the front of the truck with the shotgun. Ahmaud Arbery attacks him, and they have a fight over the shotgun. And that's when multiple shots went off. A few of them, puncturing the body of Ahmaud Arbery, and he dies. And because they are white and he's black, we're even talking about this at this point, because after the initial investigation, they weren't going to charge them because the facts and circumstances that were presented, they were justified in using force. But after social justice warriors come out, they decide they're going to prosecute these guys, and they become now white supremacists, and then he becomes a jogger. And
yeah, because the stuff later didn't come out that they were white supremacists. You're right, sir. You're right. Right.
I know that I got hit, and I know that I was weapon retention. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
With a shotgun or a rifle, it's called the push-pull method. And when somebody's got a weapon, you go to port arms and you push out and you pull down is what you're taught. I was a stickler with it, with everybody that we trained. That was my biggest fear, that somebody's on a boat and they come up because the pistol's holstered. Rifle or shotgun, you got it in your hand. It'd be easier for somebody to get it from you. So I always exclusively train people to do this push-pull. So it's natural for me. It's trained into, it's muscle memory. And when this happened, I was in Port Orange. I got struck. And I remember when I came down, I got hit in the top of the head. And he had the weapon in his hand. So I pushed and pulled, still getting hit. And
did you get it free from his grip?
I don't believe I did. I don't know. I don't know exactly when or where or if he continued grabbing, but we were together. We were locked up. He was on that shotgun.
You've seen the video we've talked about where you see you being pushed across it. Do you remember that? Do you remember where your bodies were moving?
I know that he was, I didn't know where I was at, but I knew that he was on me. I knew that I was losing this. I knew that if I was getting tripped, if I would have tripped, or if he would have got a lucky strike on my head, or if I would have lost that grip on that shotgun, that I would have been shot, or I'd have been in serious trouble at that point. I knew that he was overpowering me, but I didn't know which direction or what mechanics he was doing to overpower me.
At that time, did you remember how many times you shot the gun?
No, I didn't.
Tell us more. Since you were there, Tatum, tell us more.
So
he's just trying to make the Olympic trials.
Right. And they argued that, the prosecution argued that he was an avid jogger and that they had seen him jogging in the area, not in this community. They've seen him jog in the direction of this community. And that should be justification that he was just jogging, an innocent man looking in somebody's property he shouldn't have been in, just because he was out on a jog. And when he left the residence, he was just jogging at a high rate of speed. That's irrational. He was running. He was pretty fast, though, to be honest.
Yeah, and so it sounds like this is a young man, Ahmaud Arbery, who was breaking and entering. Now, was this like a house under construction?
It was a house under construction. It was being remodeled.
Yeah. So what was the potential? Was he just there to kind of just take a look at it, or what's the what's the defense or prosecution saying about that?
Well, the prosecution said he was just a person lingering around, just looking in the house with no intent to do anything, just because he was out on the stroll.
He was there multiple times, though, wasn't he?
That's what they don't want to bring up, even though they're forced to bring up, because there's 911 calls from Larry English, the homeowner. There's multiple calls.
Because he's got it on camera of him being in
He's
there,
on
right?
camera 4 times, 4 different occasions of him being in that particular residence. And he's been confronted by people in the community on other occasions, and the police officers have case reports documenting, these things. So he's not just a jogger, and they want to say he's a jogger. Even if it's not occupied, you still don't have a right to be in somebody's dwelling. And then there were thefts from that particular place. He has wood, he has tools, he has
So
boats.
we don't know if that was him that took it.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know if that was actually him that took it.
But
But according to Tatum's house, this ain't a racist country, right? Okay. All right. Yeah. If you want to come up and say something, you can. If not, I'm going to end the live. Hopefully you got something out of it. But yeah. America's not a racist country yet. After shooting him, they text that. Oh, okay. All right. Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir? How hope you doing today? Good.
Mm-hmm.
Why this man? I'm gonna keep it brief because I'm at work. But how the hell he gonna sit up there and tell that bold face? Well, sit up there, but why he gonna tell that lie about him stealing when the homeowner came out and said he never stole anything? So I'm trying to figure out where he getting his information from.
Well, this was
allegedly.
If I remember correctly, this was before the trial.
Yeah, but then the homeowner go on CNN and say he didn't steal anything, that he was just looking just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So what is he talking about? Like, he better not become a lawyer. He would get people locked up left and right.
Oh, they know. I remember this came out end of 2021.
Oh yeah, I remember. Because Charlie's not here no more, so he'll be all right. But yeah, I don't. They love bringing up. What we need to start doing is saying, y'all keep saying 2019 stats. We need to start saying, okay, who was in office at the time when that was 2019 stats was going on? Wasn't that your guy? So if we was doing all this stuff, why didn't Trump do anything about it? Oops, excuse me. I mean, if we were doing all that crime, allegedly, we should have been locked up more. But I don't know, man. You know, I started listening to that live we did last night, and I was laughing at the part when that guy came up and started talking all that gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
That was funny, but I don't. So basically, he wasn't nothing but a spokesperson for the was it Tucson, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's just a spokesperson for police. You know what?
He's told what to say. He
So
doesn't.
basically,
You gotta understand, a spokesman does not craft what the narrative is supposed to be. They're given the script.
So he just giving. Yeah, that's right. So
Yeah,
basically,
your job is just to relay it to the public so they'll understand it.
Yeah, he's terrible at it. So basically, you're just a spokesperson for the cops. That when you get told what to do, that's why the white boys called you out.
Yeah.
So, like my mom used to tell me, what's done in the dark always comes to light. And tater tots, you just came to light, sir. And I will land my plane there, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right. There you go. This is who these fools have put their life and their thoughts on the line. Somebody who was weaned on Alex Jones. And they wonder why their stuff and their tweets sound as crazy as it does, because there's no logic behind it. Brandon Tatum is a reactionary YouTuber. He's not an informed source. And he's proven that many times now. And now you have seen the genesis of where he got that from. He's a liberal playing a conservative, trying to bilk money out of people by claiming that he knows what he's talking about. This is why the last few debates, I say that in air quotes, that he's done, he's been getting challenged on every one of his points. And he's been looking crazy. He's been looking debunked. He won't be around too much longer, especially with this, what they call it, these midterms coming. They say Piers Morgan had "Why Are You Gay" guy on his show. I might have to watch that on the way to work. But anyway, y'all, hopefully you learned something. If you did, I done my job. If not, I try to be better next time. It is now the end of the year. So hopefully you can reflect back and see how much you've accomplished or where you could be better going into 2026. If you're going to go out and party tonight, please be safe, because, you know, Tatum's buddies will be out there, checkpoints and all. Get the Uber. Wrap them weight.
Oh, that's not me. That's other members. But
Wrap them weight.
I'm always wrecking weights. There's times I had to wreck weights for people because they wouldn't rack them up. So shoot. But yeah, I had to jump in after I heard this. Dude, he really got arrested 8 years ago for smoking. Brandon Tatum.
Yeah. He
Oh
wrote a
my
new book,
God.
not lie.
So he goes bring up other people's past to justify police murders. How would he feel if something would have happened to him
Oh, by
by
the
the
way,
police? God,
I forgot to mention this. They pulled guns on him.
they pulled guns on him?
They pulled guns on children. It's in the book if you think I'm lying.
Bro, KG, you know you always come with some facts, bro. So you know you telling the truth. You done point out you know, expose every grifter that's ever since Sorian brought you up so much. So so it's like I don't even have to look it up, but I wouldn't mind if you put the link on the chat and I'll take a look at it.
I'm
But I
trying to
wouldn't.
I'm trying to get it right now.
But man, if you can, man, if Torian don't get on live about this because this is gonna be so interesting. All right, my brother, keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing great, great work. I'm enjoying every moment of the stuff that you bringing up. That's why I put on the chat. Lord protect KG. Dang it, you revealing the secrets of these foods.
I appreciate that.
No problem, bro. I'm gonna let my plan. I'm gonna get ready to work out. I'm actually gonna get some donuts first before I work out because I have not ate.
You see how they try to ruin their body before the start of the new year? You see that, right?
Right? Yes. The thing with me is once I put them donuts in my system, I'm gonna burn them off, and it's gonna, and you won't even notice that I ate some. So I'm gonna get right into it. But yes, thank you for revealing this. I think I'm gonna rewatch it, replay game.
Okay.
Have a good one, my bro.
You too. Damn, I'm trying to find it real fast so y'all could go read it. There was a website that I was looking at this morning, and they had you could read a preview of it. I'm trying to remember which one it is. Damn it. It wasn't this one. Because they wouldn't let me in. Let me see. Damn, I knew I should have kept it open. Damn. Let me see. Let's see. Is it this one? No. No. I looked at that one. I looked at that. Is that on here? No. That was that one. Damn. Which one was it? It wasn't this. Fuck. Wait, was it this one? Yes. There it is. Cool. So, if you would like, that's the link right there. You can read a preview of it. For those who don't believe me, it's right there. And it's right here. It is right here. So whatever page this is, I'm guessing this is the beginning. So y'all can take a screenshot of that. But I put the link in there so you can go look at it later. All right, y'all. I'm going to go to work. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Y'all take care. Stay safe. I will see you in the new year, and you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence. Now, GDS, Nick Fuentes is too stupid to go look this stuff up. But I'm out.
Oh, here it goes.
Time's up.
Get your ass up. We gotta get out of here now.
But did we have a good time here? Hello?
Gotta get your groove on.
At the end of the day gotta end.
That's it.